To Congo, Brazzaville now, where opposition leader Guy Kinfosia Homa has organized protests on Sunday to reject a bid by President Denis Nguesso to run for a third term. Homa says Congo-Brazzaville will borrow a leaf from Burkina Faso, where citizens played a key role in stopping former President Blaise Compaore's bid to seek a third term. President Nguesso has proposed a referendum to change the constitution, allowing the 71-year-old president to run for a third term in next year's elections. President Nguesso has ruled Congo-Brazzaville for 31 years in separate terms in office. In July, he called a national forum to discuss reforms, including raising the maximum age for presidential candidates and scrapping the two-term limit. The referendum bid comes amid growing concern over presidential term limits in Africa. Let's get you more perspective now on this, and I'm joined by analyst Tom Maliti. Tom, President Nguesso is the third president to push for a third term in recent months, and the second after President Kagame of Rwanda to initiate a referendum to scrap the term limits. What do you make of this trend?
I think it's a trend where these presidents who ordinarily, if it was 30 years ago, they would have just declared themselves presidents for life. Today they have to follow a constitutional path, which is why they seek the views of people, hold national conferences, then talk about organizing a referendum. In some cases, one might argue that that is just a semblance of democracy, but still they need to go through that path, because the alternate path of just deciding that they're going to be president for life will not work. People will not accept it.
Well, Tom, on that whole question of looking at the constitutional bar first, though, while scrapping of term limits is widely frowned upon, especially by pro-democracy advocates in the West, doesn't doing it through a referendum, though, indeed give the public a say to indicate what the will of the people indeed is? Perhaps they want the president to continue?
Well, that assumes that these presidents are doing that because the people have asked them to do it. In the specific case of Congo-Brazzaville, Denis Nguesso has served collectively for about 30 plus years as president. And Congo-Brazzaville changed its constitution in 1992 as part of the wave at that time where one-party states were being removed and multi-party politics was being restored across the continent. And he lost a subsequent election. He got back into power and has been in power now for more than a decade, and is seeking a fresh term. And feels maybe that his hold on power is now coming to an end, and maybe he wants a second term, rather new term, but is unsure of the political way of doing it, so a referendum is the path that he has chosen.
Well, Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni has been quoted in recent times arguing that the nascent nature of African democracy actually requires strong, continuous leadership, which term limits perhaps could undermine. Isn't transplanting Western-style democracy to African nations without consideration for the different contexts within the African setting these nations to fail?
Well, Africa's experience of democracy is as diverse as the 54 countries of the continent. And there are examples that can prove Museveni's case. But then there are countries like Ghana, who have gone through several presidents who have completed their terms, whether it's one term or two terms, and the country is stable, the country is moving forward. So it depends on which example you want to choose and how you want to justify your argument.
All right, Tom Maliti for us there with that update on the democracy and Africa. Thank you.